Welcome back to our second part in our database essentials. And in this, we're going to apply our knowledge of the theory of relational databases to creating relational databases using DB-Lite. And we're going to use an example that I've already got and you can download yourself. I've opened up this dbmusic.db, which you can download. If you want to create a new database, just go to New Database and give the file a name, and then you save it, and it will give a blank database. But of course, for now, I'm just going to show you how this is set up, and you can use this knowledge to creating your own database. Now, in front of you, the first bit is database structure, and this shows you the structure of this database. And if I choose this arrow, we can see there are four tables. But they're the three tables that link to the theory that I showed you before: downloads, members, and tracks. And if we expand these, we can see the fields inside each one. And so we can see that there's different symbols next to each one that identify whether it's a primary key, a field, or a foreign key. So if we have a look at the members one, we can see members ID has a key, download, which identifies the primary key. Download ID has a key, so that's the primary key as well. So if we go back to DB members, we've got members ID as a key, and then we've got 4 fields after this, which are just normal fields for entering the data. We've also got the type of data that's entered. So here we have, for the member ID, we have integer, which is a whole number. And for first name, surname, email, and password, we have text. And then for our linking table, our downloads table, we can see that we have 2 further different symbols here, which identify them as foreign keys. And these are linked to the other 2 tables. If, for example, I can go to modify table here, I'm going to save this, I can then see what it looks like on here, and I can then see that download ID is type integer, and there's different types here. So there's integer, there's text, there's blob, which might be a note, real, which is a number with a decimal, and there's numeric there. So we've got different types here that we can use. And we have some options here. So this not null means not empty. PK means primary key. Auto increment means that every time you add a record, then the number will go up. And U means unique. And then down here, we've got a bit of SQL for creating the table, which I think is the easiest way to create the table, actually. And if I copy this, I'll show you how you can create a blank table as well. And if we go along, browse data, we could then browse the different, the data inside here. So we've got all the data here of all the members. And if I want to, I can then add a new record. So I can insert a new record. It's got it down here. It's incremented by member ID. So I can put my name down here. I can then put Anthony@email.com, and it's even got password here. Let's just do 3KPA@ like that, and it adds a record into there. I can then go to execute here. And if I copy and paste, this already copied and pasted from previous, so it's already put this on. So if I want to create a new table, all I need to do is create the table and the name. So I would say TBL. So for example, TBL albums maybe. Okay. And maybe you're going to have album ID. And you're going to have it integer, not null, unique, and I think auto increment, and it should then allow you to write that in. We could then say band. We could write other bits on here. If we don't want that to be we can then write text like so. And I'm just going to remove these because I don't need that there. Let's just remove these two. And then down the bottom, we have primary key, and we want to just identify, so we know that's going to be album ID. And that's actually auto increment, so I don't need to repeat that over and over again. So I can remove that. And at the end of each line, I've got a comma, but I don't need it for the last one. Otherwise, I'll have an error. I'll show you just to prove. If I run this, there'll be an error. If I get rid of that comma and I run it now, there shouldn't be that error. What's it telling me here? Auto increment is only allowed on an integer primary key. Oh, I can see why. I've made a spelling mistake there. There we go. And if I run it, now it's just creating my table. So make sure you've got the spellings correct. I know what I did. I copied this part instead of this. And so if I go to database, I've got my new table created. And that's basically how SQL Lite works. Thank you very much for watching.